Investor Schooling Live with Phil Falcone and Larry Steinhaus on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Good afternoon and welcome to Investor Schooling Live. Coming to you from Investor Schooling headquarters. I'm Phil Falcone here with my business partner, Larry Steinhaus. We are the founders of Investor Schooling. Get ready to learn real estate investing and stock option trading. You can call us anytime during our show, as we're a live show, at 855-939-1137. That's 855-939-1137. That's right, we're a live program. So you can call us anytime during the show and we'll take your calls. Don't worry about what we're talking about because we love to take people's calls. Investor Schooling is located in Langhorne, Pennsylvania, serving the Philadelphia area in a real brick-and-mortar building. That means we don't go to a hotel and then fly out that weekend after we're done. Learn this business, the business of real estate investing and stock option trading, from people who live it every day. So what are we going to be talking about today? We're going to be talking about how I bought a $2.1 million building with $10,000 in the bank. We're going to be talking about the change in extra properties that you can put on the back of your, say, in your back lawn, okay? Like Boxable, like Studio Shed, like Nestron, which is a new company I just became aware of. We're going to be talking about these smaller kind of houses that you can pop in your backyard. You can make it into a mother-in-law suite. You can make it into an office that you work in or something else that could be a lot of fun.
Wait, I got to ask you a question, though.
Sure.
So those Boxables, right? So the person who puts them together, do they have to be part of the union?
I'm really not up on the union rules about building sheds. My guess would be no.
I just wanted to know.
And unless you wanted to pay like 3 times the actual labor rate, I'd say you probably don't want to do it.
Yeah, so we probably don't need union workers to do Boxables?
I don't think I would consider using a union for anything. And if you are building a big building, they come with their giant inflatable rat. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah, I did.
It was just on the road to Investor Schooling recently.
Oh, really? Yeah. So I know there's just giant rats in front of our school because, you and I, we're not exactly union aficionados.
Well, have you seen the giant rat that was just out the other day?
No, I see them all the time, but I've not yet.
Okay.
They were complaining because the builder of the building hired someone who might cost less.
Yeah,
that's rough.
That's basically it.
Yeah, that's rough. But hey, I get it.
Remember the building I was buying on Street Road?
Yeah,
the one I wrote about.
Yeah,
right. I had a visit from some union guys to that building.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And what? Oh, can you discuss it?
Yeah, I mean, it was a very short conversation. I said, no, get out of here.
Okay, all right. No,
that was pretty much the end of it.
Oh, that's it. Okay, I got it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I just was listening to the show before us, and it was just interesting. Very different thoughts than our thoughts.
Well, why don't we talk about the show that we're actually on, this show?
But there is another union that I want to talk about, the National Association of Realtors.
Okay. They
act like unions for the real estate agents, and they disappoint us over and over again. And I don't know if building unions disappoint us the way the National Association of Realtors disappoint us, but still, it's pretty bad.
Well, if you're referring to, say, the Bucks County Association of Realtors,
yeah,
you were totally against leaving them initially until you finally came to your senses and listened to me.
Well, you were right in everything you said when you said that the Association of Realtors needs to, they need to stop extorting real estate agents and stop extorting offices and stop saying, hey, just because one guy didn't pay their dues that they're going to shut down the whole office.
Yeah.
That I agree with. But there are some benefits, and probably the biggest benefit is just a slight cost reduction on some of the things you buy. So that's the only reason I thought it was a good idea to be part of them. But at the same time...
Are you talking about like signs or something?
So they do have lock boxes for sale for cheaper, and they also have, by the way, the electronic lock box. That's a disaster.
Yeah, I never even owned one of those.
Yeah, that's an absolute disaster. And actually, I was on a task force when I was a realtor in the Association of Realtors. I was on a task force to eliminate them, and it turned out that the reason they didn't eliminate them, you ready for this? the Bucks County Association of Realtors got $100,000 a year as, I don't know, you want to call it bribe money to keep them going. And they were afraid to lose that money.
Well, I knew the first time I got my real estate license, I went to BCAR.
Right.
And there was supposed to be some kind of training session. Well, what it really was you should use this title company. You should use, it was basically just trying to get us to use the companies that endorsed the Bucks County Association of Realtors. But then when I ran my own office, they used to call me up and threaten me. And tell
Right,
me,
exactly,
we,
right.
one time we had 47 agents, and like one guy didn't
pay
pay,
his dues, right.
and they threatened to shut the whole office down and the MLS.
Right, and not only the MLS, but also the system for paperwork, which I think was zip forms at the time.
Yeah, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. You're right. That was part of it, too.
Yeah.
And ultimately, I mean, I couldn't handle it anymore, and it happened every 6 months. There was always somebody. If you got 50 agents, there's always somebody.
I got a great idea. Let's go in front of Bucks County Association and put, instead of a giant rat, we'll put a giant realtor.
You know what we should do? We should wait until someone puts out a giant rat, and then we'll get a giant cat.
Oh, I like that idea. Maybe that's the difference. Maybe that's why they call the people at the top CEOs, they call them fat cats, and then they call the union busters rats. I like it.
All right. Let's talk about something I care about.
Okay.
Because unions aren't one of them. We are now on Saturday at 2 p.m. Our show gets bounced around every once in a while. We used to be on Sunday at 3, then we moved it to Saturday at 2. Occasionally, some little organizations like Penn State, Temple, bump our show. We don't like that.
No.
But they're like a pretty big football team, so there's not much about it we can do about it. But what we can do right now is talk about some of the really cool new housing companies that are coming out. We've talked about in the past about Boxable. If you don't know about Boxable, it's a very interesting company where the whole house folds up. If you had a regular pickup truck, you could probably drag it across the country, park it in your backyard. You unfold the house in approximately an hour, and you got an A-frame roof with a real house. It's a pretty amazing thing. If you haven't checked it out, you want to go to Boxable.com. It's spelled like Boxable without the E at the end. Okay? There's another company out there that I'm interested in, mostly because I own a couple of mobile home parks, and I'd like to maybe replace some of the homes that I have there with some of the homes I have are older, and I want to replace them with something that's cool and modern and interesting. And one of those companies is called Studio Shed. Studio Shed has some pretty cool houses, and you can just look them up online as well and see what they have. But the new company that I just recently found is called Nestron. Nestron.
Nestron. Sounds like meta.
Yeah, it sounds like what?
Metaverse.
I don't know. Nestron. But they got some pretty cool looking houses. So they got one that's looks like a cube. It's kind of like a futuristic looking house. It almost looks like it definitely looks like something that was built like 100 years from now, right? And they sell that for only $34,000. It's really cool looking. It's got a lot of curves. It's all white. It's very interesting thing. You can check it out on their website, Nestron.com. And one of their models, this cube, which is a pretty popular one, it's only $34,000. It's really cool.
It's cheap, actually.
Yeah, it's very cheap. And it's cool looking, right? And then they have some bigger versions. I mean, one of the real popular versions is only $21,500. But keep in mind, it's only 168 square feet. So it's roughly like 10 feet wide by 17 feet long. So it's not huge. It's only 168.
So one car garage.
Yeah, but I mean, if you needed an office in your backyard and you didn't have space for an office in your house because maybe you got too many kids and they're filling up the whole house, the father walks into the backyard and he works in the backyard in privacy. Right. So I like that idea. I mean, it's pretty cool.
I think it'd be great, yeah. By the way, 855-939-1137. We're a live show. Give us a call, 855-939-1137. And if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube or LinkedIn, you can actually leave us comments. 855-939-1137. All right, so one of my favorite stories that you talk about all the time is how you bought Executech Suites. Wait, you know what? Should we play the commercial? I don't know if Glenn can do this. If he could isolate just the commercial for Executech Suites before you explain how you bought it.
I think Glenn can do anything we ask him to.
Yeah,
Glenn,
I can do that.
All right, do it.
Hi, I'm Phil Falcone from Executech Suites. We're an executive suite center in Huntington Valley on Buck.
You guys still want to be on the air while this is going?
I'm sure
Yeah,
you've
whatever.
driven
Doesn't
past it.
matter,
We're right in between Street Road and County Line Road. We have 47 offices in the prestigious address of Huntington Valley. I have offices starting at $5.95 a month. You're probably wondering, Phil, what do I get for $5.95 a month? Let me tell you. You get an office big enough for one person. You get the furniture in that office. You get the telephone on the desk. You get the telephone numbers. You get the fax numbers. You get 2 full-time receptionists to answer the phone in the name of your company and patch the calls to you. So if your company's ABC Painting Company, hey, ABC Painting Company, how can I help you? Would you like to talk to Bob? Let me get him on the phone. You could be home sleeping on your couch, and I'll patch the calls right to you. What else do we give you? We give you the conference rooms. We give you the kitchen. We give you the mailboxes, the printer, the copier, the scanner, UPS service, you name it. All of the utilities, cleaning service, and best of all, we give you free coffee. Get yourself to Executech Suites. Phone number is 215-942-7701. 215-942-7701. ExecutechSuites.com.
Okay, so Phil, that is an awesome commercial, by the way. Can you do the free coffee part real quick?
Free coffee. There is a mistake in that ad where I say I give you the kitchen. You don't actually get to take the kitchen.
You don't get to take it home?
No, you just get to use it.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'm glad you clarified that. You know, if we could put a disclaimer at the end of the commercial for next time. But so tell us how you bought that, because that is an awesome story.
So in like 2005 or 2004, I took my real estate license. I got my real estate license, and I took a class to pass the test. And the class was taught in Executech Suites that somebody else had built, right? I did not build Executech Suites. A couple of years later, in 2006, I saw that it came up for sale. And it was for sale for $2.3 million. And I knew the building right away because I had been there, and I actually was there for 2 weeks. So I felt relatively comfortable with it. I knew about the kitchen, the conference rooms. I had walked the halls. That kind of thing. So, and what I did was I basically put in an offer to buy the building, doing a 1031 exchange. So, if you know what a 1031 exchange is, you can basically sell properties. If you could take a row home in Philadelphia, for example, and you could sell that property. And the money that you make off of that property, let's just say you made $100,000, right, off of a property. That money will get transferred to a lawyer's office, otherwise known as a qualified intermediary. So you put $100,000 in this lawyer's bank account. You want to talk about a scary thing? There you go. That's pretty scary.
Really.
All right. I actually did that with 4 separate houses. I immediately went home the night I got the property under contract, and I put 8 houses up for sale. And 4 of my houses sold relatively quickly in the first, say, 2 weeks. They sold. And, they hadn't settled yet, but they sold. So what I was going to do, that basically, I had $10,000 in the bank at the time that I saw this building. So I had no way, really, to buy this building. But I did have a bunch of houses. So I put up 8 houses up for sale, and the first 4 houses that went under contract all had approximately $100,000 in equity in it. So roughly what I needed to buy this building in cash was $475,000. The mortgage lady who was working with me at the time, I think it was Fulton Bank, she had told me, you're going to need $475,000 in cash. But none of this would have even been possible if the 2 realtors who were representing the seller in this sale, the building was for sale for $2.3 million. And if either one of there was a senior realtor and a junior realtor, and if either one of them had just said, hey, Phil, you're an interesting guy, but before we go any further with this conversation, we'd like you to show us the $475,000. Well, these two guys never asked that question. I know for a fact after the sale happened that their commission was $140,000 on this deal.
Wow.
And they had done their clients no service whatsoever, because what they should have done immediately before even having a conversation with me was vet me to make sure I had the money. But no one asked, so I just kept pretending like I was Mr. Cool and I knew exactly what I was doing. I did have a lot of practice at talking to people about buying buildings, because one of the things that I always did was I would see a sign out front that anytime you drive by a big commercial building, generally you'll see a sign out front that says for rent, for sale. And you might call and get the owner, you might call and get the realtor, you might call and get them both. But that's how I learned how to talk to people about buying buildings, is buying commercial buildings, was by calling the signs in front of the building. So if you want to learn how to do this, boy, isn't that an easy way? Come to Investor Schooling on Thursday night at 7 o'clock, and we'll really teach you how to buy buildings like this.
So that's what we do. We teach people all the time how to buy money. So I love the story, because it's a great story. And it actually happens to be probably the greatest asset you have. You have a lot of good ones, though. But that probably is the greatest one you have.
It's the best asset I have. It makes the most money.
Right, yeah. And then you have your wife, Terry, who runs it, which is freaking awesome, because she's always, she takes really good care of the place. She keeps you out of it.
Yeah, I like that.
And that's a good thing.
And the rent roll is right now about $36,000 a month.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
yeah,
not bad.
Not bad at all. Yeah,
Not bad.
Especially we talked about last week. We talked about the 10%. I'm sorry, the 1% rule. So if you bought the building for $2.1 million and you're getting $36,000, you are way over the 1% rule.
Yeah, just understand that's a gross number, right?
That's what a gross number. That's fine. But I understand that you're paying electric and you're paying the heat.
We're paying
building,
for a lot of things.
So it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
But even with that, I would look at it. If I would just see if somebody was calling me up and say, hey, they had a $2.1 million building that was getting a rent roll of $36,000, I would say that would be something I want to look at.
Well, I think you remember it wasn't that long ago. It was only about 8 weeks ago that I got a phone call in the Friday morning meeting.
Oh yeah.
And the guy offered me 2.2. And
He offered you 2.2 or 3.2?
2.2.
No, 2.2. That's
I
right.
turned it down. I turned it down.
Right.
And I just once I got off the phone, I just said to the group, "Oh, it's nice to have somebody offer me $2.2 million."
Right.
But
which is $1 million short of what I think it's worth.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree. And there's no reason to sell it at this point anyway.
Right.
Just let the machine keep running, and down the road,
But if somebody offered you $4 million, you'd take it today, wouldn't you?
I'd have to.
So just call Phil if anybody wants to have Executive Suites. $4 million. I'm going to get the commission on that, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a 6% commission. Is that okay?
Yeah, we could work something out.
Okay.
If someone wanted to pay me $4 million, I think I could afford to let you ride out handsomely.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Okay. So what happened is these two agents, the senior and the junior, just never asked me to show them the money. So I just kept pretending like I was more than capable to buy this thing. They actually had their clients sign the contract. If you are a realtor, you never, ever, ever do that. You vet the person. Make sure that they have the real money. Get proof of funds.
But imagine they did. Then you wouldn't have gotten the building, and that building would have still been up for sale.
I know, but I'm just like to point out to people that what a huge mistake that was.
Yeah, I agree.
If he had just asked once, show me the money, I would have been dead in the water, right? So I raised $400,000 by selling 4 separate houses. I'm still pretty short. I need another $75,000. I only got $10,000 in the bank, so actually I needed $65,000. It occurred to me at the time, because I had bought duplexes and triplexes and quads before. I owned a number of duplexes by that time. And I knew that when you buy a duplex, for example, you get the last month's rent from the tenant and you get the security deposit from the tenant, right? And it occurred to me that at the time I bought this property, the rent roll was $42,000 a month. It was making $500,000 a year at the time. But keep in mind, this was 2006, so we were in this boom where everything was going up like crazy. And and what happened was I just called the title company. I did have a list of what all the rents were and everything, but I called the title the title company as we were getting closer to settlement, and I said, hey, how much money are you holding? It was roughly $60,000. And I basically just asked him, I said, listen, what I want that money to come to me at settlement. He said, well, it will. And I said, yeah, I know it comes at settlement. I'm asking for it to come before the settlement so that I can use that money. And he said, well, it's kind of all the same thing, right? So it will be transferred to you on the settlement sheet. When you sign it, is your money, right? So that's how I raised an additional $60,000. I had 10 grand in the bank. So I was only $5,000 short. I don't remember where I got the last $5 grand, but it didn't matter. It was
Right,
it was just jump change at that point.
Yeah, you could find $5,000 if you found
Oh yeah, of course.
470, right?
Yeah. Another $5 grand ain't gonna kill the deal. And for those of you who've never bought a piece of commercial real estate, what you got to understand is how crazy that is. Like, imagine taking an asset off of the market, so meaning it's no longer for sale, for 90 days, right? 90 days I controlled this asset while I looked for the money, which I just explained how I got it. And imagine if I didn't get the money. I could have taken this person's asset off the market, no longer for sale, for 90 days.
Yeah, sure.
What an embarrassment that would have been for those people.
Absolutely. By the way, 855-939-1137. 855-939-1137. You can call in, ask us any questions, ask us about this, ask us about that, ask us about other things. It's fine. 855-939-1137. We're here to take your call. So you said something interesting. You said take the asset off the market and control it. I think that is what people don't understand about this business.
I think it's pretty obvious to us because we have this conversation with people often.
No, we do, but most people don't understand
Yeah.
how important it is to understand that you control the asset. So you can absolutely take an asset off the market and control it. And it's funny because I know you were talking, I interrupted you before, and one of the topics that you wanted to talk about today was how can I begin real estate investing, or what's the best real estate investing strategy for newbies, and that followed with can I begin real estate investing with no money? And it's all about taking the asset off the market, which is, of course, wholesaling, which, by the way, is not really called wholesaling. And this is funny because a lot of people don't know this, that wholesaling is actually if you literally bought the property and actually closed on it and then sold it. What you're doing is assigning the contract, or in some cases even what's called novation, but who cares? It's a big fancy word for changing the name on the contract to somebody else, and you charge a fee to do that. So what you're basically doing is you're getting a property under contract. So let's say you go to Philly and you find a house that, I don't know, that somebody wants to get rid of. Let's say it was an inherited house, and it's in really bad shape, and they want to sell it to you, and you buy it and you put it under contract for, let's say, $40,000, and then you come to Phil and I, and we like that house so much, we want it so badly that we're willing to give you $60,000 for it before you even close. So basically, the difference is you're going to get $20,000 for the difference. We're going to pay the original seller $40,000. We're going to pay you $20,000, and sure enough, we own the house, and that's basics of wholesaling. How much did it cost that person to put it under contract, Phil?
Nothing.
Cost them nothing. Sometimes it costs you $100. Sometimes it costs you maybe $1,000 if you're a little new at it. But yeah, it costs you nothing to put it under contract. And then to find the buyer, you just have to find a buyer. So it's the easiest way, and you can get into this business all the time without any money. We had that guy Garcia, Jay Garcia, the other day, who was they call him the mobile home park king, and he was talking about doing this with mobile home parks. And not mobile home parks, mobile homes.
Yeah, mobile homes.
I thought this was amazing. I know you know a lot about mobile homes because you own a couple of mobile home parks. So I don't know, maybe it'd be better if you described what he was talking about, because I thought I thought it was one of the most fascinating things ever. How cheap you can buy a mobile home for and then renovate it.
Okay, sure. So this guy Jay Garcia, who is a friend of ours who came up to investor schooling, we bring in guest speakers all the time. So you never know what you're going to learn at investor schooling. That's why you got to get your butt to investor schooling at 7 p.m. on Thursday night. That's right, you. I'm talking to you right now. You are invited to investor schooling Thursday night. We're going to teach you about real estate investing. We're going to teach you about stock options. And these are things you want to learn if you like money. If you don't like money, you're good.
Yeah, if you don't like money, you probably don't want to be with us.
So what Jay Garcia does is he will find a used, beat-up trailer that's ready for the graveyard. He'll fix it up, and then he will, let's just say he finds this beat-up trailer that's been abandoned in a mobile home park. Lots of mobile home parks, people just abandon the vehicle. They just leave it there. Most of these vehicles, okay, most of these trailers, mobile homes, whatever you want to call them, have little to no value. The home itself has very little value, all right? If it's a brand new one, it has a value. You might have to pay anywhere between 15 grand and 80 grand for one of these things, right? But a lot of the older ones that have been around for 30, 40 years, well, they get pretty beat up over time, right? And they need work. They might need some new wiring. They might need plumbing. They might need new kitchens, or the floors might, the plywood floors might be getting soft. There's always lots of work that they need. But there are also tiny homes. I mean, not tiny homes like the tiny home movement, but they're not huge homes. So for about $8,000, you could almost totally renovate any one of them. 10 grand, 12 grand is possible depending on how big it is. But for the most part, these things are not like flipping a house. These are relatively easy to deal with, right? Most people can write a check for $10,000 and have somebody renovate your trailer. Once let's just say Jay Garcia bought the beat-up abandoned trailer for $2,500.
He pays less than that.
Okay,
That's a high price.
Okay.
Anywhere from zero to $500 or some of the numbers he was
yeah,
showing.
sometimes. I mean, it depends. So let's just say in this argument he buys it for $2,500, right? And he puts another $5 grand into the thing. Now what he has is the landlord, the guy who owns the mobile home park. In this case, let's say it's me. I would be able to collect a lot rent for that trailer. So maybe I'll get $500 a month for lot rent. But Jay will actually own the trailer. So Jay can rent the trailer to somebody else. And he can rent it for $500 a month. So we're each making... So Jay is basically making money off of an abandoned home. He was the one that was willing to fix it up. He was the one that did the work, invested the money, bought it, fixed it up. He gets the rent for it because he now owns it.
So now he buys the home, he renovates it, but he not only he can rent it or sell it.
He can do whatever he wants with it. It's his.
And it's kind of great, right?
But if he's leaving it in my park, he has to pay me my $500 a month.
And that's the best part is that you as a park owner would like to partner with a guy like this because if you've got abandoned homes in there, then all of a sudden you're getting lot rent. The other thing that's really nice about this too, it's not like a house where if he renovates that thing in 5 days, he could rent it the next day or he could sell it the next day. He doesn't. There's no title search. There's no other stuff that you have to do with title companies and it takes a month to do it. You can literally sell that home 5 days after you bought it, after you renovate it.
Right. So some of our students here at Investor Schooling also own mobile home parks. And one of the first things that they were told by one of these trailer renovators, otherwise known as Lonnie dealers, one of the first things that our students were told by a Lonnie dealer was, don't touch that home. We're not trashing that home. Let us come and look at it. We know how to fix these things.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And that's actually how we met Jose Garcia, was one of the students reached out to him and said that they to fix the home, and it turned out to be this guy who does this all the time. And it's a pretty fascinating. I was mesmerized. I was watching him present, and I was absolutely mesmerized by what he was talking about the other day.
I'm surprised you say that because I thought you kind of understood the premise of the Lonnie dealer.
No, I totally understood it. I just, I think it was like, you and I have discussed it, right? We read about it. We know about. We never actually sat down with someone who did. Like in this case, this guy's done. I don't know. 500.
He says he owns 100 at a time.
Right, exactly. So that's pretty impressive when you're hearing that.
It's like we've often talked about optioning somebody's house. That's if you see it for rent, like not in this market really, but if you saw a for rent sign in front of an apartment building, a small apartment building, maybe it's a quad. Let's call it a quad. And that rent sign is still out there, you should call that rent sign and say, hey, I'd like to get an option on this building. I'd like to get an option on this apartment. I'd like to be able to control any part of this piece of real estate that you would be willing to let me control, providing I agree on the price. And then I could go out, I could fix up that unit if it needs fixing, and then I can rent it to somebody else and make a profit off of it.
So you did that. You actually lease optioned an apartment that you own to somebody else.
Yes,
And-
I
and-
generally
right.
sell things that way.
Right, me too. Right.
Right. I typically don't buy things that way. If I'm going to buy something, I generally just buy it. But when I'm selling things, I like the lease option process. I
Absolutely.
like getting paid chunky money.
Yes. What's a chunky check to you?
To me, chunky money is a minimum of $10,000.
That really? I thought it was more than that.
Okay, well, extra chunky could be whatever you want it to be. You get to define what you think it is.
Okay, I got it.
It's just a phrase I use.
I got it. Sure.
A minimum of $10,000.
Yeah,
That's
I agree.
warms
Sure.
my heart.
Yeah, I like $10,000. So make $10,000 here, make $10,000 there. I like it. Sure.
It adds up.
I mean, I think it was Friday. I made like 30,000 in the stock market, and actually like 25,000. Believe it or not, in crypto. That was the craziest thing, that I'm actually making money in crypto. 'Cause I have no idea how it works. I'm just reading the charts the same way I read the charts for stock options. And I jump in and I jump out and I grab, 10, 20, 30,000 every once in a while.
But that's the way you learn, by doing it.
Yeah, exactly. True.
I'm totally wired that way. Like, when I got into the real estate business, I just got in.
Yeah.
And,
Same here.
I
didn't know what I was doing.
I just got right in.
Right.
I just said, forget it. I'm going to do this. Done. And I did it. And my mom came and helped me a little bit. But I had never painted a wall. I'd never caulked a bathtub. I didn't know how to do anything, right?
You know what? That's the number one thing that you need to know about the real estate business is you can read about it. You can go to all the presentations you want. You can even join investor schooling. But until you do your first deal, you will learn more. I should say this: you'll learn more in your first deal that you will learn from anybody who can teach you, or anything that can teach you about real estate by doing your first deal. Everything that you've heard, all the little pieces, the little puzzle pieces that are missing, will all come to you. Like what do you say to the title company when you have a subject to deal, and the title company says we don't do subject to, and you need to know how to work past that.
Yeah, well, it's funny because I was talking to somebody who sells a whole life insurance policy, and I'm in the process of getting myself a whole life insurance policy for my family to protect my, if anything happens to me, my family will be financially secure. They're already good. We have lots of assets. We already have life insurance, but some of the questions that they were asking me, I said, listen, don't explain anymore. I just need to do it. I just need to buy the plan and be in the plan.
Right.
And that's how I learn. That's how I've always learned. Mm-hmm. I just do things.
So there were several companies it's funny you mentioned this. So whole life insurance has become it had this negative connotation for many years because the life insurance agents were just selling whole life insurance because they made more money on it, which is the truth, versus term. And then all of a sudden there was this movement to go to term, and I got to be honest, the movement to go to term had a lot of flaws. The movement to go to whole life has a lot of flaws. But the new movement to go to whole life is amazing because now people are understanding what whole life insurance really does, which is a lot more than just life insurance. You can hide money. You could get money. You could get money to grow in there, literally tax-free if you know how to do it. You could get hundreds of thousands of dollars to grow in there tax-free. You could borrow against a policy at a really low rate, and you can use that money to fund other things. These are some of the things, again, some of the things that we teach. Now, understand that Phil and I, we don't sell anything. So we don't sell life insurance. We don't sell annuities. We don't sell any of these programs. So when you come to us, you get an unbiased opinion. We understand them, and we don't even care who you use. I mean, we have people who come to speak to us. There's a guy named Brent Kessler who does a lot of work with us, who does a lot of presentations on how to use a whole life policy to make money. And we if you came to us, I just don't like Brent. I don't care. Use somebody else, but make sure that they do it right. And there's very few people who know how to do it right. I mean, there's also another. I don't even know if you know. There's another show on 1210 that they hide the fact that they're selling a whole life policy in their system. I mean, they almost say it, but they don't. I don't want to mention they are because I don't know if it's fair to them. But they're selling whole life insurance as a crash-proof retirement fund. That's what they're doing, right? So, and it's a whole life policy. And by the way, I don't know why why something like that would need to hide it. They don't need to hide it. I mean, they probably don't. They probably just don't want you to think it is that when you go to a seminar. But if you understand how it works, what they're doing is actually correct. The only thing I don't like is they use the word interest instead of dividends. and they need to use. They really should replace that word. I don't know if it's a fiduciary responsibility to replace that word, but it's okay with me. Let them advertise what they want.
Well, there's another guy on 1210 who does advertisements about it. But again, he doesn't really fully explain what it is he's doing until what they first do is they offer to send you a free book.
Right.
And then when you get the book and you start reading it, you see what it's all about. And then they do a call with you. They got a pretty good timing system so that they arrange a phone call right around the time that the book arrives. So you get the book one day,
great, yeah.
the next day you get the call.
Pretty smart.
Yeah, it's pretty clever. Good marketing. And, immediately once I started talking to them, I realized it was a competition for the people that we've already affiliated ourselves with.
Yeah, it's not really a competition. We don't care who. Again, we don't care.
I understand
we
don't care, but
Right.
like when you meet somebody and you've seen their presentation,
Right.
and then you meet another guy and you've seen his presentation, that's enough. I don't
Right.
need to go to 18 presentations to figure out to make up my mind what I want to do.
Exactly.
It's a stinking policy.
And it's funny because it's the same thing, right? So you got to you borrow the money into policy to buy real estate, and it feels weird that you're doing that. And sure enough, I keep doing it, and I've replaced the money. I'm about to take a bunch more, and I'm about to pay one of my houses off, one of my rental properties off, with the money that's inside my life insurance. Just because, again, I'm trying to build a situation where I never have to worry about money. I mean, I don't have to worry about it now either, but I want to be able to even extend the time that I don't have to worry about it. Plus, have even a higher lifestyle. What do you think? We should go to a commercial real quick?
Yeah, and then I want to talk about something different.
All right, cool. We'll go to a commercial. We'll see you in a minute.
Hi, I'm Phil.
Right. Welcome back to Investor Schooling Live. I am Larry Steinhaus. I'm here with my I can't do it the way you do it. Business, whatever he says, partner Phil Falcone. Larry Steinhaus and Phil Falcone, and we're here talking about real estate. We actually were just talking about whole life insurance, which is kind of cool too. And we talk about a whole bunch of different topics, anything that has to do with money. Phil, hold on, let me give the number real quick. 855-939-1137. 855-939-1137. Give us a call. Let us know you're listening. Give us a thumbs up on Facebook. And also, you can leave messages on Facebook as well. Let us know you're listening. Let us know that you like us. Because, we do this show every day. We want to make sure that you guys are enjoying it. 855-939-1137. All right. So what is it that you want to talk about, Phil?
I want to talk about that you're my business partner.
All right. I got to practice this. Business. How do you do it?
You have to be my business partner because I don't want you to be confused as any other kind of partner.
Well, I know. And there's a lot of confusion out there right now.
All right. So let's talk about your lack of demonstrative advertising on that last ad that we listened to.
I have to tell you something. I actually asked them to drop that ad, but they put it back in.
Why'd you want to drop it?
Because I don't want to talk about why I want to drop it, but I wanted to drop it.
Okay.
Because I think it's because I'm really boring in it. That's why I wanted to drop it.
All right, so let's talk about the scuttlebutt I've been thinking about lately.
All right.
All right.
Scuttlebutt, huh?
Yeah, can you spell scuttlebutt?
I don't know. SQ. I guess not.
No, okay. Yeah, you screwed up on the second letter.
I know, exactly.
All right. I'm starting to think that commercial real estate is the first chink in the armor. Okay? It's starting to crumble.
Do you think so?
Yeah, well, okay, let's talk about a place like New York City, all right? What they're doing to the business owners in New York City with all their stupid rules and having every restaurant visitor requires a vaccine card, right? That city for sure is suffering big time. So is Los Angeles, San Francisco, Philadelphia.
Yeah.
All these major liberal cities are destroying their own tax base.
Of course.
Which is idiotic beyond belief.
And then they raise taxes on the rest of them to make up for it.
Of course, but that's another topic. And what's going to happen here, I think, is as commercial real estate begins to fall apart, and as long as they keep this insanity going, right, and the more vaccines that these goofballs keep taking, the insanity is not going to get less. It's going to get more. And it's just ridiculous. And what I see happening is it's going to cross over into the retail sector, into the medical sector, into office buildings like Executech Suites, and then it's going to hit residential. That's how crashes happen. They don't just happen on little tiny houses. They tend to happen on the biggest things first.
Yeah, so I don't disagree with you, but I actually kind of think that commercial real estate is going to start going forward again because, the scamdemic is almost over.
If they will ever let it die, which they won't.
Well, they will eventually because they'll have to, and people will eventually say, all right, I've had enough. Unfortunately, there's not enough people out there. I mean, I went today, and I see these people. It cracks me up with their masks on, and I just want to walk up to them and sneeze on them.
I've seen some protesters out recently. Did you see them over at the shopping center on your way into investor schooling?
What were they protesting?
They were protesting companies with the mandates. Biden's
okay, yeah.
Stupid mandate.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
What's your name for him?
Which one?
Biden.
I got three.
Well, just give me a couple of them.
I got President Poopy Pants.
Mm-hmm.
I got President Brain Dead. And also the Supreme Leader.
Why is he Poopy Pants?
You don't know about that story?
Did he actually
Well, so the rumor
earn
is...
that name?
Yeah. So the rumor is that he was visiting the Vatican and had what the news called a bathroom incident. And
I heard what he said to the Pope was crazy, whatever it was. Something about him being a professional baseball player?
I don't know about that one, but this... So remember...
Pedro, look it up. Find us the video.
So... You probably could. So I don't. I mean, we're going off on a really weird tangent here.
Who cares?
But apparently he pooped his pants. Is basically what happened.
What are your other names for him?
President Brain Dead.
Yeah, I heard that one before.
Yeah, and also the Supreme Leader. And the Supreme Leader, I call him the Supreme Leader because he's telling people that they have to get a vaccination and they have to wear a mask, and that also they they can't do anything. The idea of the supreme leader is a president follows the Constitution, and a supreme leader makes up his rules as he goes along. So that's the concept. That's why I call him the supreme leader.
Okay.
It's just like Hitler would be considered a supreme leader to me.
Mao Biden would be a good name.
Mao Biden's a good one too. I like it.
Chairman Biden.
Yeah. But the interesting thing, and it goes back to money actually now, is that the Democrats cannot get this whatever $1 trillion, because it goes from 3.5 to 1.7 to 1.5 to 1.2 to $3.5 infrastructure bill that is no longer an infrastructure bill. Now it's a socialist bill. If you've actually read it, it's all about socialism. They've actually taken infrastructure out of the bill, and they can't get it passed. And I don't understand how they originally called it a bipartisan bill. So if it's a bipartisan bill, wouldn't you think that everybody would just vote for it and say yes?
To me, my goal with the Biden administration is that enough time ticks by. Every day that's wasted is a good day.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
I agree.
And nothing gets accomplished.
Oh, yeah, I guess.
Right? Because if they accomplish anything, that's where we're in trouble.
Somebody's letting us know that it's possible that this bill passed this morning, $1.2 trillion. I haven't seen it. I have
did
to look it up.
hear something about it on the radio today, but
they passed it on a Saturday, so nobody would make. So they have 2 days for people to react to it. That's interesting.
It didn't sound definitive to me what I heard on the radio. So, but yes, I did hear something like it was $1 trillion.
Yeah, okay, well, that's much better than $3.5 trillion. I'm wondering what they put in it. Anyway, it doesn't really matter.
If that's all they're going to steal, I'm okay with it.
But on the other side, too, there is going to be some good stock plays based on this. Caterpillar will be a good stock, assuming that it will be that.
Assuming that they actually use the money to build infrastructure.
Right, and that's,
which they won't.
No, and it's gotten to the point where it's actually in the news now. Watching the people who pass these bills are actually investing in the stock market based on the bills. So anyway, somebody posted. I don't know if we could actually read it right now, but anyway, it is what it is. I'm going to look it up. I'll talk about it some more on Monday on my show on Monday, which is another show. You guys know. By the way, so you guys know we're also Money Chat Now is on every day at 4:00. It'll be moving to 7:30 in a couple of weeks, but it's on every day at 4:00 if you guys want to watch that too. All right, getting back to you, Phil. What else is on our list of things to talk about?
Well, let's see. We got 11 minutes left. You want to bring out the Sultan?
We could try. Sure, why not?
Stock Option Sultan. Stock Option Sultan.
Woohoo! I had a really good day on Friday. Finally, my CCL and AL paid off, and also BA paid off. Boeing paid off. Boeing was great. It went up 10 points at one point. I only sold it when it was up 7, but nobody ever went break taking a profit, and I was down on that for quite a while. And the same thing with CCL. You ready for this? I had 200 contracts of CCL because every time it went down below 22, I added more, and I made a nice chunk of change. I think I made $7,000 or $8,000 on just that play for finally going positive when I was down like 20,000 the day before. So that was pretty cool too. And AAL also
do you
popped.
see the days coming back where we're making like 6 figures?
Yeah, so it's definitely going to come back. We have to. Now is actually when it's going to happen. Now we have more realistic numbers. We have more realistic patterns. And the problem is the way we teach stock options is we need patterns. We need history of patterns. And COVID destroyed the patterns. We couldn't predict the patterns anymore. All we could do was what other people did was speculation, and I don't teach speculation. I teach predictable ways to make money, and it's very difficult when the patterns get destroyed. So that's like what we talk about on 52-week high days and 52-week low days. We tell people that those aren't stocks to play because they become unpredictable. And that's part of what was happening with us with the unpredictability of what happened last year. So during that crazy unpredictable time, that's where I lost money, and I believe you lost money too. Now it's starting to come back and starting to make more sense. Meta, which is Facebook, is actually a really great play. I'm really looking for it to drop. I really hope it drops 10 or 15 points and I can get in. But Meta, as it stands, is a good play as long as you're okay with a couple of bumps between now and the next earnings. Meta, I mean, it's fantastic. Facebook changing their name, whether they change it to Meta. By the way, you know what Meta stands for, right?
Not really.
Make everything Trump again. No, you don't like that joke. You don't like the joke the other night when I told it either.
It's still Facebook. Well, the symbol is the same.
Right. The symbol will be changing December 1st.
Okay.
It'll be changing to Meta. But but the company is now called Meta. It's not called Facebook anymore. Facebook is now a division of Meta, which is brilliant on Facebook's part, because what they've done now is they actually no longer can brand themselves as Facebook, which is really smart, because they're moving into Oculus, they're moving into Portal, they're moving into of course they have what is it? They have the other app, WhatsApp. So it's very smart for them to no longer call themselves Facebook and call Facebook a part of what they do, which is brilliant. The same thing with Google and Alphabet, although most people don't realize that Google is not Google anymore. It's Alphabet. In fact, the symbol's the same. They left it as Google, which is kind of weird. But that's why most people don't understand that it's no longer called Google. It's actually called Alphabet, and Google is a division of Alphabet. All right, getting back to some other good plays. Apple, also a good play. They missed earnings, but they missed earnings on good news. And what I mean by that is they said that it was because of the the chip shortages. So because there were chip shortages, they felt they couldn't make as many items as they normally made, and they missed sales expectations. I honestly think that Apple doesn't ever have to sell another piece of hardware again for the rest of their existence and still make trillions of dollars. I don't understand why they even cared. But it dropped about 5 points one day and then came right back up to where it was right before earnings.
I noticed that.
And unfortunately, I was looking for it to drop a little bit more. I wanted to buy some of it in low 140s, but it never happened. It hit 145 and bounced right back. So that was fine. Also, Robinhood. I like Robinhood. I like the play. And it's crazy because I actually said, and I said it in class, that it was like at 42, 43, 44 at one point. And I said, it's going to go beyond 50, but it might hit 35 first. And sure enough, it hit 35 just the other day. It bounced off 35, and let's wait and see what happens. I'm holding the stock, not the option, and I'm kind of hoping I can, kind of get my money back on it, because I'm down about 20% on it. Not a big deal. It happens. I'm down about 20% on it, but I believe it'll be a good play. But plus, I'm holding the stock, so I have no rush. I can hold on to it forever. I think at this price, though, it's a great stock option. So if you get a 35 strike price, for example, you play it out to the next earnings. I believe it'll hit 40, 45 way before the next earnings, and you'll make money on it. So I think that's also a good play. Is there anything you're looking at?
Not at the moment. I'm actually, I liquidated my account to buy the recent mobile home park that I bought, but I'm coming back soon.
So I have an interesting one, JNUG. So the other day, gold moved really fast, and sure enough, when gold moves fast, JNUG moves fast. Mm-hmm. I will never buy this stock or stock option again, because this one hurt me the most this year. But sure enough, it bounces. It seems to be bouncing off 65. So if you're a player on JNUG, it bounces off 65. It actually hit a low of 55 at one point. Now it's at 72. I think it'll actually probably bounce between 60 and 70, and those are good plays. But I'm staying far away from it because I was hurt. And of course, the Chinese stocks like Alibaba is a weird one too. It goes to 170, and then it goes back down to 160. Right now it's sitting at 158. I'm just suggesting you stay away from the Chinese stocks a little bit longer. I think there's more bad news going to come out of China soon. The Evergrande situation seemed to go away, and it's coming back.
When I think of Chinese companies to invest in, I think fool me once, shame on me, right? Fool me twice, or
I knew what you meant. Shame on you. You got it backwards. I got it.
We've been fooled already by these Chinese companies with their fake numbers, and they have an empty warehouse and nothing's in it, and then people invest millions in dollars in it, Americans mostly, and then they find out that this isn't even a real company, and you never get the money back. It's lost. This is just ridiculous. So
you have to be careful with
They
China.
can't be trusted.
Yeah, it's very odd that they can actually get past the U.S. regulators and allow this stuff to actually be sold on the New York Stock Exchange. How can Alibaba be sold on the New York Stock Exchange if they're playing games like that?
Probably because they're bribing somebody.
Yeah, it may very well be.
Washington D.C. What's not for sale?
Yeah, and it's apparent more and more often now. It's funny. I read the news and I see it all over and over again. These judges were making decisions they were making decisions on companies based on the stocks that they had. So if they had a stock in J&J, for example, they decided to vote in favor of J&J instead of the defendant. I'm sorry, the plaintiff. And it's terrible that they actually got away with it, and they're doing it for years. Plus, the Fed chairs are doing it, and now the Congress and House is doing it, and they're actually admitting it. They're going, well, fine, nobody's punished us. We're going to just keep doing it. And it's sad that we're allowed to do this. That's why that 1.2 trillion, if it was really passed, is actually not for us. It's for all the politicians who are going to make money on the stocks that they're in. It's sad. By the way, we had no calls today. I'm thinking it's because the show that let us in was really boring.
I think what happened is that all the listeners just went to sleep.
Yeah, exactly. And then, what are you going to do?
What were they talking about right before we went on? Something about some lawsuit.
I don't know. I don't remember
really.
either.
Like, could you pick a more boring topic?
All right, man. What do you think we got? We got I don't know. We got about a minute and 15 seconds.
Yeah. Why don't we just keep talking?
All right. What do you want to talk about?
Tell me, how much money do you make a year on average with your real estate license?
My real estate license. So I accidentally make between 30 and 60,000. Just accidentally. I don't even want to do it. I don't even want to be a real estate agent. It's funny. Like somebody will call me up and say, "Hey, I need to buy a house." I'm like, "Are you buying one today?" And if they say, "No, I'm just going to go looking," I'll go find somebody else. Right. If they call me up and say, "I'm buying a house today," I'm like, "Okay, I'll show it to you. Let's go."
So, like, one of the things that we own a real estate agency called the Investor Brokerage, and we advise all of our students, if you're going to be in the real estate business,
30 seconds.
If you're going to be in the real estate business, we expect you to get your license because you can, I don't look for real estate deals either. I look for real estate deals, but I don't work with people that way, right? So you can make $30,000 a year just doing a couple of houses.
10 seconds.
And yes, thank you.
All right, go to investorschooling.com and sign up right away for a free class. Investorschooling.com. You know where to go.
This program is a paid.
Beautiful.